Good morning, everyone. This is Ma'am Ellie again, and our topic for today is about global demography. Okay, so here in this particular topic, we'll be discussing the implications of overpopulation. Okay, and of course, we will be able to know the current population of the Philippines and how many are we na ba in this world, or who are those three countries, okay, who are now on the top three when it comes to population. Okay, so those are some things that we need to know in this topic, and of course the different factors that affects the global transition and a lot of more. Okay, so now let's first define or discuss what is demography. So when we say demography class, it represents the study of statistics such as birth, death, and incidence and disease, which illustrates the changing structures of human population and this cause and effects on globalization as a whole. On your screen, you can see that when we say demographics, it is the study of a population based on factors such as age, race, and sex. And of course, governments, corporations, and non-government organizations are using this demographic to learn more about their population's characteristics, okay? For the purpose of course, is enable for them to include in their policy development and economic market research, di ba? That's actually important. Uh, One of the importance is syempre dapat alam mo kung anong uri ng populasyon meron ka, okay? So now let's have the next one. So in general class, remember that demography pertains to a particular human population. So here we will learn some key terms that are associated with the study of demography. This includes the birth rate, life expectancy at birth, fertility rate, mortality rate, and age dependency ratio. Let's have first the birth rate. Okay. So one way that a particular individual is added to the population is through births of new individuals. So the way we measure this particular type of addition is with the mortality, or rather with the natality rate or the birth rate, okay, which is the number of births per 1,000 individual per unit of time, and usually that is within a year, okay, per year. Then we have the next one, which is the mortality rate. Okay. On the flip side, one way that individual live a population and reduce its size is through deaths of individuals. And the way we measure this is through mortality rate. Okay. So the mortality rate, which is the number of deaths per 1,000 individual per unit of time. Again, that period of time is usually a year. Okay. Then we have this what we call immigration versus emigration. Okay. Migration also affects population patterns. So you need to remember that, class. That the second way that individuals are added to the population is through what we call immigration. So when we say immigration, this is the permanent arrival of new individuals into the population. So these individuals are, of course, sabi ko nga, the same species as the rest of the population, and they increase the size of the population as they join the group. Okay? Then second is what we call emigration. Okay? This refer to individuals who may live through emigration. So this is permanent movement of individuals, okay, out of a population. So they may be juveniles who are heading out on their own, or they may be adults who leave the group for some reasons like overcrowding or for searching for other sources of foods and shelter. Okay, so expectancy or expectation of life. Okay, so life expectancy is what we also known as the expectation of life in a given age is the average number of years which a person at the age may expect to live based on the mortality pattern prevalent in that country. Okay, so as a result of global decline in fertility, and because alam niyo na sometimes 'di ba people are living longer, global life, okay, is global life expectancy is now rising. Okay, so this is what we mean when you hear sometimes when we say 60 is a new 40 and 70 is a new 50. Okay, so generally class people are getting younger, and that is the result of our investment in health, okay, in medicine, and of course innovations in science and technology, and so on. So, the global expectancy, according to the study, okay, from the study that I've read, the global life expectancy or the average expected living age of individuals has steadily increased for the world as a whole. Life expectancy increased from 47 years in 1950 to 1955 to 65 years in 2000 to 2005. Okay, and according to the World Health Organization's report in 2016, they reported that 72 years was the average of life expectancy at birth of the global population. Okay, then we have the fertility rate. Okay, so when we say class fertility rate, it refers the number of children born by a woman at a period of time during her childbearing age. So here you can see that the childbearing age today is from 15 years old to 45 years old. Okay, so then the family size depends on the duration of marriage, education of couple, number of live births, contraception method, and social economic status. Actually, class, there are several factors such as lifestyle factors, increase in sexually transmitted diseases, rise in obesity, and environmental factors which involve in urbanization and urban lifestyles that are affecting this fertility. Okay? And these have led to rise to male and female subfertility. And in addition, class, there are socio-economic factors also that have led to couples or women delaying have children or had delaying having children. Kumbaga, yung iba, they just decided not to have children pa sa ngayon, okay? So that is because of the lack of affordable housing, flexible and part-time career posts for women, expensive childcare, okay? So these have all contributed to the current low fertility or birth rate. So today, couples or women are delaying starting a family, which has led to a true decline in their fertility levels due to ovarian aging and related reasons, leading to reduced chance of conception. Okay, so that is what we mean by fertility rate. Then we also have this median age. So the median age or the median age is the age that divides a population into numerically equally sized groups. Okay, kumbaga, half of the people are younger than this age and half are the older. Okay, so this is the global median age according to the year. And the next, we have the age dependency ratio. Okay, so the ratio of dependents people younger than 15 or older than 64 to the working age. Okay, so here you can see the dependency ratios on how you're going to calculate it. Okay, data are shown as the proportion of dependents per 100 working age population. Okay, so now let's move on to global demography. Okay, so when we say global demography, what can you say about the global demography? Okay, here when you say global demography, a period of high birth and death rates to eras of lower birth and death rates. A society transition from agrarian hanggang maging pre-industrial to industrialization. Okay, so if you're going to read the theory of population according to Ronald Lee, okay, Before the start of demographic transition, life was short, birth was many, growth was slow, and the population was young. Okay, so during transition, first mortality and then fertility declined, causing population growth rates to accelerate, and then slow again, moving toward low fertility, long life, and an old population. Okay, so here, mamaya, later on, we will be discussing about the global demographic transition, okay? So the global demographic transition has brought momentous changes, class, in reshaping the economic, not only the economic, but of course the demographic life cycles of individuals and restructuring populations, okay? So today we are experiencing crisis, as you all knew, and it has big impact on the world population. So yung pagkamatay ng mga tao all over the world because of the current pandemic that we are now experiencing right now. So how industrialization affected the health of the citizens? Okay, here we have what we call the 4Ds, the disruption, deprivation, diseases, and death during industrialization. Okay, so the 4Ds brought problems not only physically, emotionally, but even mentally and psychologically. Okay, so here are the four stages of classical demographic transition. So as I mentioned before, okay, this global demographic transition has brought momentous changes, okay, in the economic and demographic, okay. So we have the first, the pre-transition, then second, early transition. The third is the late transition, and the fourth is the post-transition, okay. In stage one, the pre-transition, it is characterized by high birth rates and high fluctuating death rates. While on the second stage, the early transition, so during the early stages of the transition, the death rates begins to fall, okay? As birth rates remain high, the population starts to grow rapidly. And on the third stage, the late transition, so here, birth rates start to decline. So the rate of population growth decelerates, okay? Or decelerates. Then stage 4 is the post-transition. Post-transitional societies are characterized by low birth and low death rates. So here, population growth is negligible or even enters a decline. Okay, so those are the four stages of classical demographic transition. Then here we have the 5 stages of demographic transition according to Drew Grover. So as you can see, stages 2 to 3, okay, they are part of the LEDCs, okay? When we say LEDCs, these are the less economically developed countries. So yung mga LEDCs nasa stages 2 to 3 sila. While yung mga nasa MEDCs, they are on the stages 4 to 5. So the MEDCs are the more economically developed countries. Okay, so these are again the 5 stages of demographic transition according to Drew Grover. Okay, so there are factors that would affect demographic transition. Okay, the man-made disasters, the emergencies of new deadly diseases, just like the HIV, the Ebola, the H1N1, the SARS, and the latest is the COVID. Okay, also we also have the rising cost of healthcare system, demographic aging. Okay, so these are actually factors that would affect demographic transition. Of course, because of the man-made disasters, there are a lot of people pa rin, di ba, who have been declared dead or who have been died because of those man-made disasters. When we say man-made disaster, class, examples of this are terrorism, okay, the genocide. When you say genocide, class, the killing and the massacre, of course, yung mga attack or the bombing, explosions, and of course, accidental fall of the bridges and buildings, okay? So those are some of the man-made disasters, okay? And emergencies of deadly diseases, of course, it actually affect demographic transition, just like now, many people died because of the COVID-19. And of course, rising cost of healthcare system. Today, people are really having this healthcare system, di ba? Because marami nang tumatanda, okay? So they wanted to be secured pagdating ng mga panahon na may mga sakit na sila. So that's why nagkakaroon ng pagtaas pagdating sa healthcare system. Okay, nagiging mahal na. Then the demographic aging, of course, there are actually factors. Okay, so ilan dyan is of course because of the increasing population of the aging people. Okay, so those are the factors that would affect demographic transition. Then we have here the global migration and labor export, okay? So factors that would affect demographic transition also is the migration, of course. Sabi nga nila class, we need to manage migration because it is a solution to global population stability, okay? And young migrants from populous third world countries can help solve the problem of labor shortage in first world countries, okay? As a result of aging population and low fertility rates, okay? So these factors were the effect of demographic transition. So the push factors and the pull factors na tinatawag, okay? So here, the push factors, okay, of course, the reason why people are going to different countries from one places to another is because dun sa pinakang homeland nila, they have no job, workless sila or jobless. So kaya nagkakaroon ng mga unemployment. So they're trying to have alam niyo, nagbabaka sakali that they can have opportunity in the other countries na meron silang trabaho. The social unrest and rebellion, that is also one of the push factor kung bakit umaalis ang isang individual from his or her homeland. The political crisis is also included. Of course, the poverty, minimum wages when it comes to salary, poor living condition. That's why many Filipinos are really or they wanted to go abroad just to have a better living. So, yun talaga yung pinaka-main reason kalimitan ng mga Pilipino kung bakit umaalis sa Pilipinas. To have a greater opportunity there, to have a better life there, okay? A better job, okay? So, those are some of the push factors from homeland. And it also include the corruption, of course, in the government, lack of employment opportunities, the government policies is also a factor, and the social mobility. And we also have the pull factors to the destination country. So ito naman ang tumutulak sa kanila para pumunta sila ng ibang bansa. Yan, yung mga binanggit ko na kanina, to have better working condition, better life or high standard of living, okay? High salary or compensation, so na-attract sila pagdating sa compensation package na ino-offer ng mga companies and industries from different countries. And of course, there are a lot of more employment opportunities compared to their homeland, okay? And we also have the Philippines Labor Export Policy or the LEP, okay? So when we say labor export policy, okay, that is according to Presidential Decree 442 or the Labor Code of 1974. So to simply put this idea or objective is ang pinakang purpose niya class is to promote employment and human resources development, and of course to ensure industrial peace based on social justice. Then another is to strengthen the network of public employment offices and placement of workers locally and overseas. to serve national development objectives. So here, as you can see on your screen, these are na sinasabi nila na kaya daw ginawa itong labor export policies to be or to serve as the solution to the following: the social unrest, massive domestic unemployment rate, political crisis, and poverty. So that is the reason why the labor export policy was uh, made. Okay. So here we have the global migration and labor export, the OFWs in focus. So these are the negative impact of the labor export policy in the Philippines. So because of the LEP, okay, dahil masyadong focus na dun sa remittances na pinapadala nitong mga OFWs from different parts of the world or from different countries of the world, ayan, the LEP bring negative impacts in the Philippine economy, and these are the following: failure to modernize manufacturing and agricultural sector, negative balance of trade when it comes to export and import, poor investment in infrastructure, agriculture, mining, and social development, inability to pursue sound and long-term economic activities. So yan naman ang mga naapektuhan daw, class, when it comes in this labor export policy. Then we also have exploitation of the overseas Filipino workers. So ayan, actually class, women and girls, okay, sila talaga yung pinakang prone pagdating dito sa exploitation of the overseas Filipino workers. Filipino women and Filipino girls who were working abroad, okay, minsan ano lang hindi lang naiisa publiko yung mga nangyayari sa kanila, but there are a lot of Filipinas who are suffering from abuses, physical abuse, maltreatment, and sometimes mga di ba nababalitaan natin na uuwi sa kamatayan, yung iba nabibitay, okay, even though they don't have naman talaga sin, okay, wala naman talaga silang kasalanan. Okay, so yan. Minsan, they were being involved in the transnational crimes like yung mga drug mules, di ba? And of course, pagdating sa racial discrimination, hindi pa rin mawawala. And sometimes, yung akala ng mga Filipino or mga Filipina particularly, that when they went abroad, they will have this better life or better opportunities in their work. But pagdating nila doon, malalaman na lang nila that they were being less compensated. There were no benefits at all. Okay, so the minimum wages na inaasahan nila, hindi naman ganun din kalaki. Okay, so those are some factors of the exploitation of the overseas Filipino workers. At nangyayari talaga siya, class, in the real life. Then we have this global migration and labor export, OFWs in focus. So the scaling of migrant labor in many immigration countries, shortage of health professional, full-blown crisis in the healthcare system. So ang nangyayari kasi, class, dahil yung mga professional healthcare workers natin is pumupunta na ibang bansa. So pagdating ng yung bansa na natin nangangailangan, just like now that we are having this pandemic, so ayan, medyo nagkakaroon tayo ng shortage sa health professional, okay? Pag meron tayong crisis. And of course, some Filipino workers naman who are working here in the Philippines as teachers or other professional work, pagdating naman nila ng ibang bansa, yun, hindi naman sila rin teachers. Some of them are just working, halimbawa, domestic helper, okay? So yun, kaya nagkakaroon ng threats on the labor export policy. And of course, some of the social costs of labor exports on families of OFWs are the following. And I know that you are familiar with this because, di ba, kalimitan naririnig na natin maybe in our neighbor, friends, okay? So, sana wala naman sa family natin or even in our relatives. But of course, sana sa lahat wala na maka-experience nito because of this labor export, okay? So, the family were been a product of broken family because of the broken marriages, diba? Nagkakaroon din minsan sa family, magkakaroon ng mga drug addiction, diba? School dropouts, suicide, and sometimes psychological breakdown. So yun yung worst na nangyayari because of the social cost of labor export and families of OFWs. Okay? So, all in all, class, that's all for our topic about demographic or the global demography. Okay? So, again, class, let's try to understand the topic. Okay? So, expect that on your exam, it will be more on understanding, situational, and application. Okay? So these are my references, class. So please do study your lessons. So I'll see you on the next synchronous session, class. Thank you, everyone.